I'd like to call this meeting of the City Council to order and ask that you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Tamer, call the roll, please.
Toludo. Here. Cahill.
Here.
Nudera.
Here.
Park. Here. Conquest.
Here.
Estido.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
Brennan.
Here.
Verimus.
We are attempting to get her on the phone.
All right.
Deuter.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Volumsky.
Here.
Jensen. 13 present, 1 absent at roll call.
All right. Do we have Alderman Vramis on the phone right now? Not. Yeah. All right. All right. 13 present, 1 absent, and we'll see if Alderman Vramis can join us. Item 2, receipt of written communications from the public. Is there any member of the public that has a written communication? Had this been an actual emergency?
Wow.
It doesn't sound.
All right. We'll continue. Is there anyone who has a written communication that they would like to deliver to the council? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll move on to public forum. Clerk Tamer, has anyone signed in for public forum?
Yes, Mayor, we have Michael Kozinski.
All right, and
Kozinski.
if you would approach the microphone right next to you there, state your name and address is optional. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Mike Kaczynski. I live on Fullerton Avenue, and I just want to stress my opposition to these sidewalks. I see absolutely no reason that you're building sidewalks 60 years after the neighborhood has been improved. If you put them in when they first put the streets and sewers in, there were a lot of vacant lots. Any of the vegetation mostly was wild. There was a bunch of cottonwood trees that were growing wild, stuff like that. You could have easily got rid of all that with no problem. Now, the whole neighborhood is built up. All the east-west streets have front driveways. There are no side driveways, so where you tell me 18 feet, that's half my yard. And I just don't even know where that comes from, you know. And plus, there's so much vegetation. There's all the AT&T stuff equipment is on the would be the easement, because I think on my original plot the easement was 10 feet, but I haven't seen it in years. I'm just remembering. But everything, all the street lights, all the AT&T, all the Edison company, all the telephone poles, everything is on that easement. So the sidewalk would actually be zigzagging all over. Yeah, yes, because you go to one yard and it's absolutely clear. There's no obstructions. You go to the next yard and the whole thing is, the whole thing is got obstructions in it, whatever they are. In some places, I mean, like I say, depending on where the garage is situated, people won't even be able to fit in their garage, in their own driveway. They won't be able to park their cars, because the east-west streets, there are no front or side driveways. They're all front driveways. Mm-hmm. On the north-south street, every house is a side driveway, so it doesn't affect them that much. I mean, I think, and basically, like, as I look around at all your addresses, nobody even lives in the neighborhood, actually. So nobody even has a dog in this fight. So I'm just assuming that you really don't really care that much, because none of you really are affected by it. Just like half the neighborhood isn't here, because people just don't pay attention. I mean, it's just the way it is nowadays. So that's pretty much all I have to say. What I would like is all to do, though, whether you live in the neighborhood or not, is drive around the neighborhood and make an assessment of what you think, because it's not a really big area. But I know that most people, like people on the south side, if my kids didn't have doings at Butterfield Park from time to time, I would have no idea what it looked like on either side of York Road. I know what it looks like at York Road and Villette, but what the neighborhood looks like, I would have no idea. And I assume most people are in the same boat. So pretty much that's all I have to say.
Thank you for coming out and giving us public comment tonight.
That's it,
All
Mayor.
right, and is there anyone in the audience that wanted to give public comment but did not have the opportunity to sign in? All right, then we will close public forum. Announcements, are there any announcements from the dais? I see none. All right, moving on.
I have one.
Alderman Dunn.
Yes, I would just like to thank...
Pull your mic there, Bob.
I would like to thank the Elmhurst Fire Department for their donation in coordinating 11 CPR mannequins to a small town in Mexico that was requested by one of our residents in the 2nd Ward, Blas Bolivar. He's been doing some charitable work back in his home community and saw a definite need for this type of training aid for the community, and I reached out to our Chief Anashevitz, and within a few days they were loading these mannequins into the recipient's car to send them to Mexico. So I appreciate that, and so will the folks in Mexico. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn. Any other announcements? Alderman, and by the way, Alderman Bramus, are you with us now?
I am, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, Mark, Alderman Bramus is with us. Alderman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. So on December 27th, the Public Works and Building Committee will be canceled.
Canceled. You're not going to do any work. All right. Any other committee chairs have plans for that one? Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Affairs and Safety Committee will also be canceled next week.
All right. Alderman Dunn.
I thought we were going to do this under other business, but since the Finance Committee has been on the nice list and working hard, and as well as staff, we are getting a pass for next Monday, and we will not be meeting. Thanks.
All right. Alderman Polumsky.
Thank you, Mayor. The Development Planning and Zoning Committee will also be canceled on the 26th.
All right, then I'm not coming in either. All right, any other announcements? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Clerk Tamer, if you will read the consent agenda, please.
Minutes of the regular meeting, 5.1 minutes of the regular meeting of the Elmhurst City Council on December 5th, 2022. 5.2 mayoral appointment, Economic Development Commission Chair and Vice Chair. 5.3 accounts payable, December 19th, 2022. $2,718,710.51. 5.4 report, Timothy Christian, conditional use permit for amended planned unit development with site development allowances, 188 West Butterfield. 5.5 report, insurance renewal. 5.6 report, St. Patrick's Day parade request. 5.7 report, asset management assistance. 5.8 report, North York resurfacing project, Phase 3, engineering services agreement, see item 8.1. And 5.9, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 entitled Water and Sewers of the Municipal Code of Ordinances of the City of Elmhurst, Illinois.
Thank you, Clerk. Is there any item on the consent agenda that any alderman would like to remove, either to vote against or for further discussion? All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent
Excuse me,
agenda?
Mayor.
Alderman Mulliner.
I don't know the protocol here, but I saw something in the minutes that I just noticed. I don't know if that's
You saw
ever gets pulled, but Alderman Mulliner is marked as present and absent on one of these. I don't know if that matters, but it's just something I saw.
I wasn't here, so I can't.
All right, we'll call that a Scrivener's error, and the Scrivener's not here, or maybe she is, but we'll correct that. Thank you for calling that to our attention. All right, we have with the Scrivener's error corrected, we'll have a motion by Alderman Mulliner.
Was he here?
Second
Can we
by,
ask if he was here? I wasn't here that night, so I don't know.
he was not here.
Okay.
Second by Alderman Deuter. Call the roll, please.
I'm sorry, who moved it?
Motion by Alderman Mulliner,
Thank
second
you.
by Alderman Deuter.
Thank you. Toledo?
Aye.
Cahill?
Aye.
Nudera?
Aye.
Park?
Aye.
Honquist?
Aye.
Bastido?
Aye.
Mulliner? Brennan?
Aye.
Arimas?
Aye.
Deuter,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Palumski,
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. The consent agenda passes. Moving on to reports and recommendations of appointed elected officials. For me, I want to thank all the city departments for the various holiday collections, collecting things such as toys, food, hats, mittens are some of the examples. Appreciate that. Elmhurst Noon Year's Eve Bash will be on New Year's Day, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. by our fire department. Is that at the South York Station?
Yes.
At the
Station 2.
Fire Station 2.
Families.
So families, Elmhurst Noon Year's Eve Bash. And last, we'll have Christmas tree disposal on the first and second week of January, so look on the website for that. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. One item tonight. The Finance Committee last week had a look at it, but we have the first blush of the new website, which has been under development. It was a project that our communications manager had undertaken, and so we are making some improvements to that and changes, and we hope to have that out shortly into the new year.
That's great news. Any other reports from elected officials? All right, moving on to committee reports. 7.1 Outdoor Dining Program. Clerk Tamer, would you read the resolution?
Therefore, the Development, Planning, and Zoning Committee recommends that the City Council approve the interim outdoor dining plan for Elmhurst outlined herein for businesses seeking outdoor dining options beginning in 2023. Signed, Danny Palumski, Chair, Mark A. Mulliner, Vice Chair, and Emily Bastido, Alderwoman, Ward 6.
All right, and that's a report, not a resolution. Motion to place 7.1 before the council. Motion, Alderman Palumski. Second, Alderman Mulliner. Alderman Palumski.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank everyone who has shared opinions, my fellow committee members, other members of the council and staff, especially Heather Barekas, who spent quite a bit of time on gathering information and preparing the materials for us. Our report is the product resulting from a referral to establish an outdoor dining program that is more long-term than what has been in place since 2020. To clear up any confusion, I'd like to stress that eliminating outdoor dining was never on the table. Though the proposed program is without an expiration date, given the fact that a new referral calling for a comprehensive placemaking plan to incorporate flexibility and address outdoor uses is moving forward. This is not permanent. We're approving an interim plan. Before COVID, outdoor dining was permitted on sidewalks in front of a restaurant's frontage partitioned with fencing. COVID restrictions prompted the city to facilitate dining in parking spaces or parklets for the purpose of keeping restaurants employing, or full-service restaurants keeping their staff employed. This included parklets, using parking spaces up to 3 parklets per restaurant, and use of sidewalk space in front of other businesses. This forced innovation allowed for outdoor dining options that many residents and visitors enjoyed. A number of people responded yes when asked on social media if they wanted extended outdoor dining, but that, even if defined in exactly what that meant, was not only the only relevant question when deliberating this topic. It was just as important to consider the following. Do people like outdoor dining? What is the impact to businesses and residents of carving out 1/3 of parking spaces situated in the heart of downtown? Do some people report that they will only dine locally if they eat outside? Given the fact that this council approved a policy to facilitate quick turnover of prime parking spots with no party remaining in a spot more than 2 hours at a time, how do we justify the existence of empty restaurant tables during weekdays when they reduce parking access of retail and service business patrons? Perhaps most important is this. If the people who said they wanted expanded outdoor dining were asked if they wanted to support all local small businesses, I'm confident they would have said yes. So if supporting extended outdoor dining means keeping the same regulations we had last year, and if supporting all businesses means saying no to parklets and no to sidewalk dining expansion beyond a restaurant's own frontage, it would seem impossible to do both. Perhaps the most striking fact to surface in our review of parklet use was that parklets were rarely used most weekdays before dinner. So while an argument can be made that multiple diners using parklets with quick turnover is compatible with the premise that a prime parking spot hosts a vehicle no longer than 2 hours at a time, it was clear that there was a need to reduce the extent to which parking spaces were made unavailable by storing empty tables and chairs. Unfortunately, removing barriers on a Monday morning to allow for parking and then setting up parklets later in the week was not feasible with an estimated cost of over $5,000 per week. In an effort to balance the needs, interests, and range of opinions of residents and businesses, the committee is recommending a program that makes almost no one happy, a true compromise. The committee is proposing a plan to maintain some aspects of outdoor dining, but to significantly reduce parklet dining in the following manner. Parklets will be permitted Memorial Day through Labor Day, or approximately 103 days. This is fewer than half of the 214 days it was permitted last year. A restaurant may have access to no more than 2 parking spaces for parklets. Last year, restaurants could have up to 3 parklets. There will be a fee of $2,500 per 2 parklets. This is an increase from $500 last year. So while a parklet had been $4.67 per day, it will now be $24.28 a day. Sidewalk dining will be permitted for a longer period of time if requested, from April 1st through November 30th. But now a restaurant will not be allowed to set up tables in front of neighboring businesses without their permission. In response to feedback about the aesthetics, the report also recommends design standards, including the following. Orange barriers are to be covered with approved covers. This is a staff decision, but likely to be black with a reflective stripe. The $2,500 fee includes the cost for the barrier cover. Planter boxes are highly recommended, are highly encouraged to sit atop the jerseys. Staff will provide a planter option for purchase if a restaurant wants them. Elevated, warm-toned lighting only, no logos or advertising, signage not allowed within or around outdoor dining areas. All outdoor furniture and decor must be made of weather-resistant materials. The committee also addressed tent, awning, and canopy regulations, which will largely be managed by staff on a case-by-case basis. Like last year, walkways with ADA compliant width will be marked and no handicap accessible parking spaces will be disrupted by parklets. I would like to again stress that the parklet recommendations are not lasting forever. Regardless of the access granted to some restaurants next year, parking spaces will remain public property. It is possible that a restaurant buying new tables and umbrellas to comply with design standards for parklet use may find themselves without the use of parklets in 2024. So after much committee review and discussion, I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Plumsky. Any additional discussion? Alderman Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. And please feel free to correct me if I do this in any incorrect order, but I'd like to make a motion to amend the report.
Do you have a written copy of your motion that you may share with your fellow aldermen?
Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Bramus.
I'd like to second the motion, please.
All right. He hasn't made it yet, but as soon as we get that done, you're going to be number 2 on our list. Are you want to make the motion?
Oh, yes, I'd like to make the motion to.
All right, and your motion is?
Report. The motion is an amendment to change the current wording in paragraph 2 of the report, where it says the committee recommending an outdoor dining plan that has no expiration date but may be modified before the spring of 2024 as determined appropriate. And I'd like to replace that with the following language. Recommends an outdoor dining plan that has an initial 2-year term and would be reviewed prior to the summer 2025 dining season.
All right, so you all each have before you a copy of, sorry, Alderman Bramus, you are seconding that motion? Alderman Bramus, are you seconding that motion?
She's probably.
I think she's tapping yes in Morse code, but, all right, well, I think we've got a second there.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank
Can
you.
you hear me?
All right, We can, all right. So you each have before you a copy of the proposed amendment. The red line is being what is stricken from the report as it stands, and the 1.5 sentences that follows is the language you are proposing to insert in your motion in lieu of the stricken language. All right, discussion now on the amendment. Alderman Hill.
So the purpose of this amendment, as I see it when thinking about parklets and outdoor dining, is to commit ourselves to a future goal. So if we're serious, if we feel that outdoor dining is really essential to the social and economic vibrancy of Elmhurst, then I think it deserves ongoing attention. And so the purpose of this is to give us an expiration date or a sunset date or a renewal date, but something that gives a firm commitment by city staff and elected officials to develop a future comprehensive and inclusive dining plan. Some might say that the pending city referral, which I am on, to reimagine our downtown kind of fulfills this need. But it's broad in scope, and it could take several years to come to fruition. It's hard to know that the time and demands of a future council would prioritize outdoor dining as we see it right now, and sometimes our best intentions for programs and policies and services, they fade over time. So I also want to reiterate that an expiration date as part of the current dining report does not hinder outdoor dining in any way, and that certainly isn't the intent here. The current report could be renewed in 2 years' time if found to be suitable to stakeholders and still in the best interests of the council. But a set expiration date commits us to doing our best to ensure that continued economic vibrancy and social vibrancy and the sense of a engaged, busy outdoor dining environment in downtown Elmhurst that we say we value, that our residents say we value. It spurs us, this expiration date, to develop a program that looks beyond these short-term solutions. And I think a clear horizon provides us 2 pandemic-free years of information that we're going to need to make good decisions. You know, revenue data, longer-term parking impacts, stakeholder input, potential sources of funding, and fresh outdoor dining ideas, to name a few. So I would encourage your support in looking towards a horizon that we can focus on as something to revisit an issue that we claim is very important to us and probably deserves the attention in the near term that such a contentious yet important issue needs.
Thank you, Alderman Hill. Additional discussion on the motion, the amended. Alderman Mulliner.
A couple of things. One is that was kind of the intent of what we were trying to get to as far as trying to give some stability to the businesses was kind of the idea that we had behind the referral, so that the businesses would actually know that they would have feel comfortable that they would be able to have dining the way that they would see it for more than 1 or 2 years. So that's really the reason why we had gone with a referral, expressing the way that we had it. I'll also indicate that an existing council, a new council, any council at any time can take up any issue that they want to. So you can put it into a report to sunset something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in there. A council can take that up. I would assume that the referral that was put forward would be taken up within the next year or the next council. So I really, you know, where you come from with this one, I understand, but at the same time, I've kind of tossed between whether or not this was going to help or not help. So I'm not saying yes or no to it right now. I'm just saying.
All right. Additional discussion on the amendment. Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the committee and staff for a lot of hard work and thought that went into this report. I know the committee received a ton of input on this issue. I think all of the aldermen up here have received a ton of input on this issue, more probably than almost any issue that has come before the council. So I think this is an issue that is of importance to everyone in town, all of our stakeholders. I think that the work to find a long-term approach to outdoor dining, is something that we will keep our eye on and should keep our eye on. And I think the committee made it very clear that the intent in moving forward this recommendation is that it be an interim plan. My concern with having this sunset in a couple of years is, I hope that one of the things we look at is more of an infrastructure plan. We might have wider sidewalks downtown. We might be able to change the way we use some of our open space now to accommodate that outdoor dining and expanded outdoor dining. And if we do that, we may know exactly what we want to do, but it won't have been done yet in 2 years, even if we start that work right away. So this is meant to be, as I understand and appreciate, an interim plan. It's a good compromise between the variety of opinions that weighed in on this issue. And I think from my perspective, it would make sense to leave this in place for whatever duration that interim is until we actually have implemented our next plan. So for that reason, I support the work of the committee. I know the committee did consider this recommendation, the idea of a sunset, as part of their deliberations, decided not to include that in this report. So I support the report as it stands coming out of committee.
Alderman Palumsky.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to address a couple of points. First of all, I believe that going forward, regardless of anyone's feelings about this specific outdoor dining plan, it seems that everybody's really excited about the referral to address a larger downtown plan with, mixed use, flex space, outdoor uses. So I think there's motivation for a future committee to take a look at that. I also just want to point out in the report, you'll notice that, no, I don't have it up now. We have met 9 times about this agenda item. So one thing to consider is by having a sunset piece in here, that would require a council to have to look at it within a specific time frame. And given the fact that we still have not received our draft of our zoning code update, I know that's going to be multiple steps. And hopefully there will be a lot of work on this new referral about, the downtown plan. That also could take up a lot of time. I understand a lot of people's opinions here. I just know that I will not be here to see this through, and I'm well aware of how much work staff did on gathering information for this agenda item. So that's what I thought I'd share. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Palumsky. Alderman Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. And I neglected to thank the committee for all their work on this. So I really appreciate having sat in on a lot of those meetings and heard a lot of the talk. I'd be remiss in failing to mention that it was a lot of work. I could see that. I just want to reiterate something I said earlier, that I think if you're putting in a term to this or a sunset clause or expiration, there's no reason I feel that could not simply, if we get input at that time 2 years from now and everything's going great, I'm not sure if it would be a huge drag on staff time. We might be able to revise it, tweak it, and put it through again. It might not be 9 visits. Perhaps I'm being optimistic, but I can't see a lot of the downside in putting in a set limitation to this. It might require a little bit more work, but as we can see from what we've gotten from the community and the response from others, this is something that it sounds like we should be spending our time on. I'm a little concerned if we look at this 3 years from now with different faces on the council. Maybe that would be good. Maybe fresh ideas, new input, good things to say. But they might not also understand all the moving parts that went into this right now. And, maybe the focus that we have to make outdoor dining in Elmhurst work well would drift a little bit. Now, that's probably always the concern of referrals and other work that takes a long time. But again, I just don't see why putting in a limiter on that, something to refocus on this and say, are we doing the things that we need to be doing? Is everything working well? Rather than relying on a referral that, it's indefinite. When will we look at this again? And I want to be realistic. I'd love it if it would happen soon, but I suspect it's going to take a long time for it to come together. And it's a very broad scope, that referral. So it could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, especially those on the committee. So again, I don't see a way in which this is a negative. I only see it as a positive to include this.
All right, Alderman Ramus, I can't see if your hand's up or not. Did you want to speak on this?
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So I support the amendment. I have seen our city center. I've been an active business community member for 2 decades. I've seen our city center evolve. I understand the challenges of balancing the community's desires and the practicality of conducting business. I support the amendment because I think it commits the council and staff to evaluating a long-term solution, such as our referral. Like everyone, I love outdoor dining, and I'd like to see downtown Elmhurst be at the forefront of an innovative design. And I would like to just have some accountability there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Ramus. Other discussion? Alderman Toledo.
Thank you. I think that there's some good points made on both sides of this amendment, proposed motion to amend. I think drawing from my experience serving on the council, I'm reluctant to hamstring or force the hand of a future council. I think that the committee has obviously done extensive work seeking information from the community, from staff, to make a well thought out and thoughtful compromise for what it should be a temporary, relatively temporary, but somewhat dependable for businesses status for the next couple of years. The referral that I co-sponsored with Alderman Hill, Vremus, and Deuter, I think will get attention. I believe that there's a lot of people that think it's a good idea. It will consider a lot of the things that the committee had to consider and more. And I trust the process, both of the committee's work that has been done to date, as well as the future referral process to take its course without hamstringing, as I said, the future councils to a particular action. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Toledo. All right, see no more discussion, and I will ask, so we're voting now on the amendment, the approval of the amendment, and then we will go on from there. On the amendment, Clerk Tamer.
Toledo?
Nay.
Cahill?
Aye.
Udera?
Aye.
Park?
Nay.
Hodquist?
No.
Bastido?
No.
Mulliner?
No.
Brennan?
No.
Marimas?
Aye.
Deuter?
No.
Dunn?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Lumsky?
No.
Jensen?
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 nays.
Yeah, are you trying to make me break a tie or something?
6 ayes, 8 nays. I'm sorry.
Ah.
I don't know why I said that.
Are you sure? All right, 6,
Need to take a step back. 6 ayes, 8 nays.
yeah, 6 ayes, 8 nays. All right, we're all on the
Promise
same
you,
page.
6 ayes
The
and 8
motion is defeated. Now on to the main report. Is there any additional discussion on the main report? Alderman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. So my only question with respect to the report, and thank you for the overview. You answered my other questions, Alderman Polomsky, is the planters. So the report states that planters will be, identified by city. Does the restaurant have to purchase the planters through the city?
Alderman Polomsky.
Thank you, Mayor. A restaurant may purchase, they don't have to have a planter, but if they do need to purchase through the city. We looked at a number of examples, and we all came to an agreement that the ones that were uniform looked best. So staff has come up with one that can be built that will clamp onto the barrier.
So if they do want a planter, they have to go through the city?
Yes.
Thank you.
Other discussion on the report? Alderman Dunn.
My question is, I thank the committee for their work on this 9 meetings. Is certainly a lot of due diligence on the issue. I think one of the objectives or thrusts of the committee was to shrink the parklets to some extent from what it was before, in terms of the length of time that they're out there. I'm not sure of how we're going to enforce a cap on the number of parklets. I didn't really gather that from the report, and so are we only allowing 19 parklets to be consumed by this?
Alderman Palumski.
So while there was an interest to have fewer parklets, we do think that will be achieved by having fewer per restaurant and having a greater cost to use it. That said, the committee also didn't want to say a specific number of restaurants, and in doing so only, select some on the street to use it and some not. So it's really to revisit if we get to 10 restaurants interested, but we believe it will be fewer than last year.
Okay.
Other discussion? All right. Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Tamer to call the roll on the report.
Toludo.
Aye.
Cahill.
Aye.
Nudera.
Aye.
Park.
Aye.
Conquest.
Aye.
Bastido.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Brennan.
Aye.
Marimas.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. Report 7.1 is adopted. Moving on to resolutions. Clerk Tamer, would you read Resolution 8.1?
A resolution approving and authorizing the execution of Phase 3 Professional Engineering Services Agreement by and between the City of Elmhurst and Blatt, Inc. for the North York Street Resurfacing Improvements Project. See item 5.8.
All right, I may have a motion to put Resolution 8.1 before the council. Alderman Brennan, second Alderman Honquist. Alderman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, Report 5.8 had suspend the rules language in it. The reason for that, the North York resurfacing project, a good portion of that project will be funded by grants and funds from the state. And per their process to go to bid, we have to predetermine or establish engineering that will work with the state to fulfill the bid process. So we stay ahead of this, and this was, I think, I think it was a change that we weren't aware of, so therefore, we have gone about and identified the engineering firm to help us with this process. We're suspending the rules so we can stay on schedule to get the bids out through the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Brennan. Discussion on Resolution 8.1. Clerk Tamer, call the roll.
Toludo.
Aye.
Cahill.
Aye.
Nudera.
Aye.
Park.
Aye.
Conquest.
Aye.
Bastido.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Brennan.
Aye.
Marimas.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution 8.1 passes. Item 9, other business. Is there any other business to be brought before the council this evening? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Alderman Mulliner, second Alderman Hill. All in favor, say aye.
The phone.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Roll call.
Toludo.
Aye.
Cahill.
Aye.
Nudera.
Aye.
Park.
Aye.
Conquest,
Aye.
Bastido. Aye. Mulliner,
Aye.
Brennan,
Aye.
Baribus,
Aye.
Deuter,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Walensky. Aye. Jensen.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays, we adjourn. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Annie's